Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another EU Made Simple live stream. It's been a while. Lambertus, how are you doing?
I am great, Elliot. I'm excited to be here with our EU Made Simple audience after months. So good to be here.
After months, I mean, what an occasion it is as well. As you can see already on screen, it's we are waiting for our beloved Donald Trump to start talking. What are your expectations for what he's going to say? What are your any positive ideas, any negative ideas? I'm curious what you guys think, and in the chat as well.
Yeah, I've already asked the chat. I think, honestly, the thing with Trump is, and you've seen it in the last couple of big speeches he's held, he's so unpredictable. So, for example, it could be something completely different, nothing to do with tariffs, and he might announce something completely out of the ordinary. But I think the minimum is 25% on cars. Obviously, he's already said that last week for the EU. And a worst case scenario is probably 25% on everything from the EU, which would be devastating for both sides, obviously.
I mean,
what do
yeah,
you think,
yeah, it's not only yeah. I mean, of course, we're EU Made Simple as an EU channel, but we have more than that. It's not only going to be on the EU. These tariffs. It's going to be on I think almost every single large trade partner that the United States has, which is quite surprising. Let's say there's a lots of theories going around of why this is happening or why he's threatening with this, and I feel like we're going to get into that little bit later. Right now we're just kind of waiting what really is going to be there. But what I found most interesting is that up until I want to say like 6 hours ago, the staffers at the White House were still kind of unsure if it was really going to happen, yes or no. But it seems that something is going to be announced at least now.
Yeah. I mean, they're all. I mean, you can see the screen, right? They're all nervously waiting, or I guess these are the supporters who are very happily waiting.
Yeah, excitedly waiting.
Yeah. I mean, remember, Elliot? Remember when Vance came to Munich? That was, and he was there to speak about Ukraine, and then he pretty much just announced that there's no free speech in Europe. So who knows what we can expect today? Maybe it's going to be something similar.
We're gonna like. I mean, I'm waiting for looking forward to these things to see it live, because I mean, live reactions are always the best reactions, right? I mean, I remember him reading that article that says, Vance said this about the European Union and our free speech, and better yet, I mean, multiple almost insults, you could say. And I'm just like reading that with my mouth open, like, he said what about us?
Yeah.
what is he saying?
You mean Vance, right? In Munich.
Yeah, Vance. Right? Yeah, in Munich. Yeah, exactly. So
I know. I remember watching it, and I rewatched it afterwards because I was so like, what? He came to Munich, right, as a guest, and then literally tells us basically that we don't have a democracy after everything that's been going on in the US.
yeah, exactly. Some people are asking, what are we going to be watching? We are going to be watching some. Yeah, maybe it's good to explain a little bit more for those that don't know. We're going to be watching the Trump address. He calls it Liberation Day. That's why the stream title is called Liberation Day, Trump's Liberation Day, where, well, everyone is expecting that he's going to be announcing quite a few number of tariffs, and specifically on the European Union as well. So that's why we thought it might be worth covering. So everyone is kind of holding their breath right now. So I mean, let's see what will happen, what is going to be said. I mean, we see JD Vance already taking pictures there, it seems like. But
I mean, the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, right, and her commissioners have already stated that they will literally release counter tariffs straight away if this goes overboard, and already different levels of severity. Even if it stays as is, there's already tariffs or counter tariffs that the Commission wants to do, based on the aluminum and steel tariffs that US has introduced. But depending how bad tonight is, and that's what we're watching with all of you here, the EU counter tariffs might be quite excessive.
Yeah, and it's the nuclear option, they called it, right? Was it tariffs or like a tax on profit that was generated by tech companies, American tech companies in Europe, which obviously with the support of Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg, these large tech companies in the United States for Trump, that is a very targeted, deliberate attempt of the European Union to say, well, if you're going to be hurting us, we're going to be hurting your allies as well.
Right. And this is what the interesting part, right? Is because on defense, Europe is, I hate to say it, but a little useless, right? I mean, hopefully it will get better. I'm very strongly for Europe to be better at defense, but trade is actually something Europe is quite strong at, because we do have a single market. We do have a European Commission who basically has authority to, talk on behalf of the 27 member states. So this is something that it's harder for a US to bully us around. So that's why it's so interesting to see the response.
Yeah, you're right. And the thing that surprises me as well is that we kind of have a pretty competitive still production base. We have I'm going to interrupt myself here, but we have a donation by a user called Lao Shimazaki with a donation of 1,000 Japanese yen, I think that is. And he says, hello from Japan. Yes, quite scared for these tariffs. So here in Europe, we're not the only ones that are holding our breaths. Thank you very much for your donation, Lao.
Thank you very much. I mean, Japan is also, there's the man, the man of the hour.
Yeah.
So everyone,
go ahead.
We will put the sound on when he starts speaking, and then we will watch it. Sorry to interrupt you there, Elliot, but we'll watch it together, and we will pause it here and there when we think it's something worth talking about briefly. But that's how tonight's going to go down. Right, Elliot?
Yeah, no, it is. I just also wanted to ask, I mean, if we have Lao and I mean people from all over the world maybe in the chat, I assume that we have mostly Europeans in the chat, but I'm curious if you are from different parts or different continents, what your thoughts are, what your fears are, stuff like that. I'm really curious to see what other people around the world are thinking. Especially
Thank you.
There we go.
Nice crowd. What a good-looking group of people. Well, we have some very, very good news today, and a lot of good things are happening for our country. Please sit down. My fellow Americans, this is Liberation Day. Waiting for a long time.
Woo!
April 2nd, 2025 will forever be remembered as the day American industry was reborn, the day America's destiny was reclaimed, and the day that we began to make America wealthy again.
Yeah, that's the slogan, wealthy.
We're gonna make it wealthy, good and wealthy. For decades, our country has been looted, pillaged, raped, and plundered by nations near and far, both friend and foe alike. American steel workers, auto workers, farmers, and skilled craftsmen, we have a lot of them here with us today. They really suffered gravely. They watched in anguish as foreign leaders have stolen our jobs, foreign cheaters have ransacked our factories, and foreign scavengers have torn apart our once beautiful American dream. We had an American dream that you don't hear so much about. You did 4 years ago, and you are now, but you don't too often, and for many years and decades even, you didn't hear too much about. Our country and its taxpayers have been ripped off for more than 50 years, but it is not going to happen anymore. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, this is
same
the same
story
thing
every time.
Yeah.
Same story every time.
It's always the same thing.
In a few moments, I will sign a historic executive order instituting reciprocal tariffs on countries throughout the world. Reciprocal, that means they do it to us and we do it to them. Very simple. Can't get any simpler than that.
These are new tariffs.
This is one of the most important days, in my opinion, in American history. It's our declaration of economic independence. For years, hardworking American citizens were forced to sit on the sidelines as other nations got rich and powerful, much of it at our expense. But now it's our turn to prosper, and in so doing, use trillions and trillions of dollars to reduce our taxes and pay down our national debt, and it'll all happen very quickly. With today's action, we are finally going to be able to make America great again, greater than ever before.
Okay, we got nothing yet.
Yeah, nothing really.
There's nothing yet.
Jobs and factories will come roaring back into our country, and you see it happening already. We will supercharge our domestic industrial base. We will pry open foreign markets and break down foreign trade barriers. And ultimately, more production at home will mean stronger competition and lower prices for consumers. This will be indeed the golden age of America. It's coming back. We're going to come back very strongly.
Yeah.
We're pleased to be joined on this momentous occasion by Vice President J.D. Vance. J.D., thank you. Thank you.
Do we say anything about the introduction?
No, that wasn't too hard to find.
I have nothing
he
to
likes
say.
to take a low-key attitude, so usually we sit right in front. He's
Yeah.
gaining a lot of confidence.
I have a lot to say,
Mike,
but I
isn't
guess
it?
not too relevant right now. It's okay. I guess we can just keep watching for now till we get some actual meat. Because I mean, right now it's the same thing we've heard all over again, right?
Yeah.
So
It really is. I mean, the interesting thing he mentioned reciprocal tariffs. So
yeah,
I really wonder what he means. I mean, does it mean he's gonna? I mean, let's keep on watching. I think we'll get more.
Well,
input.
let's keep watching.
And nearly my entire cabinet is here, as well as Speaker Mike Johnson, who's done an amazing job. And with the great success we had last night in Florida, we have a majority of 7.
Didn't
and
mention
7's like a lot
Wisconsin,
when
though.
we had it at 1, right? You've done a fantastic job. And many of the members of the House and Senate are with us. Senators, Congressmen, thank you all for being with us. We appreciate it. For decades, the United States slashed our trade barriers on other countries, while those nations placed massive tariffs on our products and created outrageous non-monetary barriers to decimate our industries. And in many cases, the non-monetary barriers were worse than the monetary ones. They manipulated their currencies, subsidized their exports, stole our intellectual property, imposed exorbitant VAT taxes to disadvantage our products, adopted unfair rules and technical standards, and created filthy pollution havens. They were absolutely filthy, but they always came to us and they said, we're violating, we should pay for it. It's all detailed in a very big report by the U.S. Trade Representative on foreign trade barriers, and I'll just hold it up for you. It's available, and you don't have to pay too much. As I understand it, you'll pay nothing. It's a lot of work. A lot of work for something, actually, because it's a special, it's a special book. It's very, frankly,
It's a special book.
Very upsetting when you read it, when you see what people have been doing to us for 30 years. This all happened with no response from the United States of America, none whatsoever. But those days are over. Let me offer just a few examples of the vicious attacks our workers have faced for so many years. The United States charges other countries only a 2.4 tariff on motorcycles. Meanwhile, Thailand and others are charging much higher prices, like 60%. India charges 70%. Vietnam charges 75%, and others are even higher than that. Likewise, until today, the United States has for decades charged a 2.5 tariff. Think of that, 2.5% on foreign-made automobiles. The European Union charges us more than 10% tariffs, and they have 20% VATs, much, much higher. India charges 70%, and perhaps worst of all are the non-monetary restrictions imposed by South Korea, Japan, and very many other nations as a result of these colossal trade barriers. 81% of the cars in South Korea are made in South Korea. 94% of the cars in Japan are made in Japan. Toyota sells 1 million foreign-made automobiles into the United States, and General Motors sells almost none. Ford sells very little. None of our companies are allowed to go into other countries. And I say that, friend and foe, and in many cases, the friend is worse than the foe in terms of trade. But such horrendous imbalances have devastated our industrial base and put our national security at risk. I don't blame these other countries at all for this calamity. I blame former presidents and past leaders who weren't doing their job. They let it happen, and they let it happen to an extent that nobody can even believe. That's why.
Elliot, how many times do you think he's going to blame Biden in his address today?
Ooh, good question. I think. I mean, we should. I mean, we are in a bar. I mean, the background is a bar, so we should have been drinking. And every time he says Biden, take a shot.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be. It's always. I don't know why, but he always keeps blaming Biden. I mean, Biden's gone. You know, it's you now, dude. You're in charge. You can do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah. The thing is, for a more serious topic, there is one small point that he did make. Right, it is true that the the tariffs in, at least in Germany, in EU are higher. So I think they're 10%, like you said, for US cars.
For cars,
and they are lower indeed for European cars to go to the US. So he is right there, I guess.
Well, I mean, I guess, but like saying what is the question here? Because, you know, in other areas, the United States has higher tariffs again, right? It's not, you don't go comparing tariffs from sector to sector, or like this in the same sector. You view them as a whole package. Every country, everywhere in the world has tariffs to protect small parts of their industry. But I guess Trump just views that as unfair. I mean, I guess that's his opinion.
Yeah. I mean, before we continue watching, another interesting thing, because I see we have Japanese people here in the chat, and I thought maybe even someone from South Korea. But I read earlier that apparently, China, I think, South Korea, and Japan got together and are talking the first time in 5 years about like a trade deal between themselves. And I think honestly, it's probably inspired by the US becoming a bit more hostile towards their old allies, right?
I read that too. It's China, South Korea, and Japan trying to get together and see what they can do to alleviate the tariffs. But maybe, well, let's keep watching and
but if anyone knows more in the comments from those countries, please do let us know.
Why, effective at midnight, we will impose a 25% tariff on all foreign-made automobiles.
Okay, that's the first. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. What we already thought.
Thank you. Brian, I'd like to have you come up here for a second, okay? I just see him sitting. He's been a fan of ours, and he understands this business a lot better than the economists, a lot better than anybody. Brian, say a few words, please, would you? Thank you. Thank you. It's a great honor to have you. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. President. I grew up just north of Detroit, Michigan, in Macomb County, known as the home of the Reagan Democrats. My first vote for president was for Ronald Reagan. I thought that was going to be the best president I ever saw in my lifetime until Donald J. Trump came along.
Okay.
I have watched my entire life, I have watched plant after plant after plant in Detroit and in the Metro Detroit area close. There are now plants sitting idle. There are now plants that are underutilized, and Donald Trump's policies are going to bring product back into those underutilized plants. There's going to be new investment. There's going to be new plants built. And the UAW members, and I brought 20 of them with me, they're sitting right over here. We support Donald Trump's policies on tariffs 100%. So, Mr. President, we can't thank you enough. And in 6 months or a year, we're going to begin to see the benefits. I can't wait to see what's happening 3 or 4 years down the road. Thank you, Mr. President.
Well,
what a great guy. He got it right from the beginning. He got it before almost anybody else. This group over there, they got it too. And, you know, we won the state of Michigan. We won almost all of them. But we won Michigan by a lot, and I want to just thank you all. The auto workers were fantastic. The Teamsters were fantastic. Everyone was pretty good, I will tell you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. You're going to be very happy very soon, and you probably see what's happening with all of the, not only car companies, but car companies in particular. You see it with all of the ones they're moving, they're announcing day in, day out. You're seeing it. Nobody's ever seen anything like that. With today's actions, we're also standing up for our great farmers and ranchers who are brutalized by nations all over the world. Brutalized.
Agriculture something, or?
Yeah, I'm waiting.
Canada, by the way, imposes a 250 to 300% tariff on many of our dairy products. They do the first can of milk. They do the first little carton of milk at a very low price, but after that it gets bad, and then it gets up to 275, 300%. So when they're figuring what's Canada charging, they say, oh, about 2%, 3%. But take a look at what happens down the road. When you look a little bit, it's not a pretty picture, and we don't like it, and it's not fair. It's not fair to our farmers. It's not fair to our country. And with countries like Canada, you know, we subsidize a lot of countries and keep them going and keep them in business. In the case of Mexico, it's $300 billion a year. In the case of Canada, it's close to $200 billion a year. And I say, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? I mean, at what point do we say you got to work for yourselves, and you got to? This is why we have the big deficits. This is why we have that amount of debt that's been placed on our heads over the last number of years, and we're really not taking it anymore. through non-tariff barriers, the European Union bans imports of most American poultry. You understand? They say, we want to send you our cars, we want to send you everything, but we're not going to take anything that you have. Australia
Except their
bans,
services.
and they're wonderful people and wonderful everything, but they ban American beef, yet we imported $3 billion of Australian beef from them just last year alone. They won't take any of our beef. They don't want it because they don't want it to affect their farmers. And you know what? I don't believe.
Sorry, I have to pause it there. Because isn't Elliot? Am I wrong? Maybe I'm wrong, but isn't the reason why we don't really want their agricultural goods because of quality issues? Isn't there like very high environmental standards or food standards in the EU?
Yes.
Is that correct? I think it is, isn't it?
That is correct. That is absolutely correct, because I mean that is the reason why. I mean, higher food standards means more cost when producing a product. I mean, or higher standards in general. So the same goes for chicken, same goes for any sort of livestock. And if those standards are higher here in Europe, so that we, have healthier diets, healthier products, that means that the farmers in the United States have to comply if they want to sell in our, single market. And if they don't want to do that, that's the thing that apparently pisses Donald Trump off is. It becomes more expensive to sell to the European Union. Yeah. So
yeah, I thought so too. Anyway, let's continue watching.
But we're doing the same thing right now, starting about midnight tonight, I would say.
Oh, did we miss something?
And China charges American rice farmers an overquota, it's called, a tariff rate of 65%. South Korea charges 50%. Actually, they charge different, from 50% to 513%. And Japan, our friend, charges us 700%. But that's because they don't want us selling rice and other thing. Who can blame them, Madam Secretary? Agriculture, great job you did on eggs, by the way. The egg prices came down 50%. You got them down 50%. Once we got involved, they were going through the sky. The egg prices, they were going through the sky, and you did a fantastic job. Now we have lots of eggs, and they're much cheaper, down about 59% now.
Because he got rid of the department. Anyway,
we charge 2.8% for so many things that other countries are charging 200%, 300%, and 400% for. If imposing tariffs and protective barriers made nations poor, then every country on earth would be racing to eliminate these policies, and China would be the first online. They run a very strong country, but they're not first in line, and the American people are paying a very big price. From 1789 to 1913, we were a tariff-backed nation, and the United States was proportionately the wealthiest it has ever been. So wealthy, in fact, that in the 1880s, they established a commission to decide what they were going to do with the vast sums of money they were collecting. We were collecting so much money so fast, we didn't know what to do with it. Isn't that a nice problem to have? What do you think, Marco? Good problem? Marco would love that problem. But we don't have that problem anymore, but we're not going to have it very much longer, I will tell you. But they collected so much money, they actually formed a commission to determine what they were going to do with the money, who they were going to give it to, and how much. Then in 1913, for reasons unknown to mankind, they established the income tax so that citizens, rather than foreign countries, would start paying the money necessary to run our government. Then in 1929, it all came to a very abrupt end with the Great Depression, and it would have never happened if they had stayed with the tariff policy. It would have been a much different story. They tried to bring back tariffs to save our country, but it was gone. It was gone. It was too late. Nothing could have been done. It took years and years to get out of that depression, far longer than even FDR had that office right over there for a long period of time. The ramp system, that's rather intricate, was built because of him, and every time you walk up, you think of him, and he did a great job in many ways, but it lasted long beyond his terms, as you know. But it's not too late any longer, and we're going to start being smart, and we're going to start being very wealthy again. We're going to be wealthy as a country because they've taken so much of our wealth away from us. We're not going to let that happen. We truly can be very wealthy. We can be so much wealthier than any country. It's not even believable, but we're getting smart. Nearly a century later, in the face of unrelenting economic warfare, the
Well, this
United
without
States
it,
can no
I'm
longer
very
continue with a
impressed,
policy of
The only
unilateral
thing that we've heard is the 25%,
economic
right?
surrender. We
Or
cannot
on
pay
cars.
the deficits of Canada, Mexico, and so many other countries. We used to do it. We can't do it anymore. We take care of countries all over the world. We pay for their military. We pay for everything they have to pay. And then when you want to cut back a little bit, they get upset that you're not taking care of them any longer. But we have to take care of our people, and we're going to take care of our people first. And I'm sorry to say that.
Yeah, yeah, nothing. I mean, I'm sorry for the people that.
And today, standing up
sometimes
for
tough
the
to watch, but-
American worker, and we are finally putting America first.
Yeah.
In sleepy Joe Biden's last year in office, the United States hemorrhaged 100,000 manufacturing jobs, and the number was going through the roof at levels never seen before. And our trade deficit reached a record $1.2 trillion, which is unheard of. Since the beginning of NAFTA, the worst trade deal ever made. It was a horror show. I was able to terminate it. They all said you'd never be able to get it out. We had to get approval from Congress to get it terminated. We had to live with that deal. It was the worst trade deal ever made by far. But since the very beginning
Donald
of
Trump is like
NAFTA,
a
our
bitter
country
ex.
lost 90,000 factories. Think of what that is, 90,000. Think about putting a map up and putting tax on it. You wouldn't have enough room. 90,000. I said, is that possible? We had it checked 4 different times, and it was actually somewhat higher than that. And 5 million manufacturing jobs were lost while racking up trade deficits of $19 trillion. That was the worst trade deal ever made. As a result of these gigantic losses, foreign
this was gonna take
nations now
shorter, I'll
own
be honest with you.
$26 trillion more of American assets than think of this, than the Americans own of their own foreign assets or other foreign assets. The United States can no longer produce enough antibiotics to treat our sick. We have a tremendous problem. We have to go to foreign countries to treat our sick. If anything ever happened from a war standpoint, we wouldn't be able to do it. We import virtually all of our computers, phones, televisions, and electronics. We used to dominate the field, and now we import it all from different countries. A single shipyard in China now produces more ships every year than all of the American shipyards combined. Think of that. And it was a business that we used to dominate. We used to dominate it totally. In short, chronic trade deficits are no longer merely an economic problem. They're a national emergency that threatens our security and our very way of life. It's a very great threat to our country. And for these reasons, starting tomorrow, the United States will implement reciprocal tariffs on other nations. It's been a long time since we even thought of that. We used to think about it a lot. We didn't think about it for many decades, and you see what's happened. For nations that treat us badly, we will calculate the combined rate of all their tariffs, non-monetary barriers, and other forms of cheating. And because we are being very kind, we're kind people, very kind. You're not so kind when you got ripped off with your salaries. My auto worker friends and my Teamster friends and all of the unions that typically voted Democrat, they're not voting Democrat anymore because worker, whether union or non-worker, they're for the Republicans now. That's what happened.
Sorry,
So
I
he
had to pause it. Yeah, go ahead, Elliot. Yeah.
So he said he's going to be taking countries and then calculating all of the what he deems unfair, non-monetary barriers and tariffs, and then return them.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it sounds like, reciprocal tariffs. So based on what other countries pose against the US, I guess.
Yes, we don't have
It
any.
feels like a cop-out, to be honest.
It does. We don't have any. We don't have any numbers here except for the car one.
Maybe the stock market declines the last couple of weeks have scared him a little, but maybe it will still come. But so far, it's
I mean,
all
it's half an hour in.
I know he talks a lot. I mean, I appreciate that we have a big crowd going through this with us, Elliot, because this it is a bit of a painful watch at times. But hey, he can talk. You have to give him that.
But we will charge them approximately half of what they are and have been charging us. So the tariffs will be not a full reciprocal. I could have done that, yes, but it would have been tough for a lot of countries. We didn't want to do that. I'd like to see the chart if you have it. Could you bring it up, Howard?
Oh, there's a chart.
This is our
That's always
great
nice.
Secretary of Commerce.
He loves
Howard
he
Lutnick.
loves his little pictures or his little papers. He always brings them. Here we
So,
go.
Oh,
if you
here.
look
Wait,
at
wait.
that, China, first row. China, 67%. That's tariffs charged to the USA, including currency manipulation and trade barriers. So 67%, I think you can, for the most part, see it. Those with
Yeah.
good eyes, with bad eyes. We didn't want to bring,
get
it's very
windy?
windy out here. We didn't want to bring out the big charts because it had no chance of standing. Fortunately, we came armed with a little smaller chart. So 67%, so we're going to be charging a discounted reciprocal tariff of 34%. I think,
On
in other
everything?
words, they charge us,
Yes.
we charge them, we
Oh.
charge them less. So how can
Wait,
anybody
this
be
is quite
upset?
big.
They will be, because we never charge anybody anything, but now we're going to charge. European Union, they're very tough, very, very tough traders.
Thank you.
You know, you think of European Union,
Maybe
very
it's a
friendly.
compliment.
They rip us off. It's so sad to see. It's so pathetic. 39%, we're going to charge them 20%, so we're charging them essentially half. Vietnam, great negotiators, great people. They like me, I like them. The problem is they charge us 90%.
get a
We're going to
50%.
charge them 46% tariff. Taiwan, where they took all of our computer chips and semiconductors. We used to be the king, right? We were everything. We had all of
They
it.
stole.
Now we have almost none of it, except the biggest company is coming in. We're going to end up with almost 40%. Lee Zeldin's working to get their approvals. And it's an amazing.
I'm sorry, I have to put it on pause for a minute, but this is, I mean, I shouldn't be laughing because it's like so crazy. He actually comes with a board and he's showing this reciprocal tariffs. Now I understand what he meant. So he's got a different tariff rate for all of these countries. And I assume this is on all goods.
Look at Cambodia as well. 50.
Oh, man.
David did like a little color coding. You see, it's like first green and then white and then green. That's nice.
Yeah, it's impressive. I mean, and we are.
This is everything.
Yeah, I think so. The car industry. Okay, so maybe let's relate it to the EU very quickly.
Yeah.
We'll continue watching in a second, guys. But 25% on cars and then 20% on everything else. That's how I understand it.
Yeah. So I guess was it 20? Did you say 20 or 25?
25 on cars. But
Yeah,
then
25
I
on
think
cars.
that was- and now the European Union 20%. So to be honest, my worst case to go into this for Europe was 25 and it's 20. So it's pretty bad, right?
Yeah. Okay. Let's keep listening. If it's for specific
sorry.
sectors or everything. Yeah.
Sorry, let's keep watching.
Amazing company, Mr. Wei, of one of the great companies of the world, actually. They're coming in from Taiwan, and they're going to build one of the biggest plants in the world, maybe the biggest for that. But 64%, we're going to charge them 32%. Japan, very, very tough, great people. And again, I don't blame the people for doing it. I think they're very smart in doing it. I blame the people that sat right in that Oval Office, right over there, right behind the Resolute desk, or
Who was it?
whichever desk they chose.
Who was it?
Japan, 46%. They would charge us 46%, and much higher for certain items like cars, little items like cars. 46%, we're charging them 24%. India, very, very tough, very, very
Are we
tough.
on the entire list?
The
Yeah, he's
Prime
close to the
Minister
entire
just
list.
left, and he's a great friend of mine, but I said, you're a friend of mine, but you're
That's-
not treating us right. They charge us 52%.
Elliot,
You
just talk
have to
about
understand, we
the-
charge them almost nothing for years
Ay,
and years and
Coro.
decades. And it was only 7 years ago when I came in, we started with China and charged them. We took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China in tariffs. And they understood, honestly. President Xi understood. He said, look, I understand. And the other countries, and they all understand. We're going to have to go through a little tough love, maybe, but they all understand. They're ripping us off, and they understood it. Prime Minister of Japan, Shinzo Abe. He was a fantastic man. He was unfortunately taken from us, assassination. But I went to him and I said, Shinzo, we have to do something. Trade is not fair. He said, I know that. And he was a great gentleman. He was a fantastic man, but he understood immediately what I was talking about. I said, Shinzo, we have to do something. He said, I know that. And we worked out a deal, and it would have been a much better deal, but Frankly, there were many years left on the deal that was made previous to my getting there, but it was something. If you look at Switzerland, 61% to 31%. Indonesia,
31
Malaysia,
on Switzerland as
Cambodia.
well.
Oh, look at Cambodia, 97%. We're going to bring it down to 49. They made a fortune with the United States of America. United Kingdom, 10%. And we'll go 10%. So we'll do the same thing.
Israel also gets
South
17, by the way.
Africa, 60%, 30%. And they've got some bad things going on in South Africa. You know, we're paying them billions of dollars, and we cut the funding because a lot of bad things are happening in South Africa. The fake news ought to be looking at it. They don't want to report it. Brazil, 10%, 10%. Bangladesh is 74%. So you see what's going on. Pakistan, 58%. Sri Lanka, 88%. So what we're doing is we're taking not the full, we could take the full 88%. Thanks a lot, Harold. He's doing a very good job. How's he doing, all right? I think you better take it with you. It's not going to last very long. If he's going to put it, it's going to fall.
Sorry, very quick, Elliot. Was UK on there? I don't think it was.
No, I'm pretty sure it was.
10%. Sorry, I didn't see it.
Yeah.
The chat saying it. UK was 10%. Okay, and I think Russia obviously wasn't on it, right?
I didn't see Russia. No, I didn't notice Russia though.
Okay, crazy. So UK, Starmer, you know, giving concessions at the last minute probably helped him. But yeah, let's continue watching. Or unless you want to say something, Elliot.
No. Let's go. Let's talk after.
Follow you down with the wind. I brought a hat just in case it got too windy, but here, would anybody like a hat? I'm not giving it to a cabinet. I'm giving it to the auto workers. Come here. Thank you, fellas. Get it. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Cool.
They deserve it more than our cabinet.
Wow.
Our cabinet has plenty of hats.
Roasted.
But you see the numbers. The
Have you
numbers
seen
are so
Elon, by the way?
disproportionate. They're so unfair. At the same time, we will establish a minimum baseline tariff of 10%. You notice that on the chart? And that'll be on other countries to help rebuild our economy and to prevent
On
cheating.
everyone.
So we're going to
On every
have
single
a minimum
country.
of cheating.
Yeah. So I think 10% baseline on worldwide everywhere.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
UK falls in it with 10%, and everything else is what you just saw on the screen. And then for cars, it's even worse. For EU, as I mentioned, is 25%. Same with steel and aluminum. Steel and aluminum is also 25%. Crazy.
Yeah. That's crazy. Okay.
Well, I hope everyone sold their stocks before this happened.
And we're going to be very severe on the people that at the gate that watch the tariffs and watch the product coming in, because there's been a lot of bad things happening at the gate because the money is so enormous that you're talking about. There's never been probably anything like it in terms of the enormity, and there are a lot of bad things happen at the people that do the check-in, and they're looking at 10-year jail sentences if they do play. We're going to treat them so good, but if they cheat, the repercussions are going to be extremely strong. Foreign nations will finally be asked to pay for the privilege of access to our market, the biggest market in the world. We're right now the biggest market in the world. We had a great country 4 years ago in terms of the economics. We were doubling up on China. We were doing so well. Nobody was going to catch us, but so much of it slipped away over the last 4 years under Biden. I campaigned on this policy throughout last year, and today that promise was made, and it was also a promise, as you know, that was kept. Promises made, promises kept. To any company that objects to our common sense reciprocal tariffs, again, reciprocal, back and forth, and I call this kind reciprocal. This is not full reciprocal. This is kind reciprocal.
What a kind
But
man.
what we do is we cut it in half. We charge them. My answer is very simple. If they complain, if you want your tariff rate to be zero, then you build your product right here in America, because there is no tariff if you build your plant, your product in America. And we've seen companies coming in like we've never seen before. Likewise to all of the foreign presidents, prime ministers, kings, queens, ambassadors, and everyone else who will soon be calling to ask for exemptions from these tariffs. I say, terminate your own tariffs, drop your barriers, don't manipulate your currencies. They manipulate their currencies like nobody can even believe, which is a bad, bad thing and very devastating to us, and start buying tens of billions of dollars of American goods. Tariffs give our country protection against those that would do us economic harm. And many people were looking to do us economic harm. Maybe not so obviously, but they were doing tremendous economic harm. But even more importantly, they will give us growth. These tariffs are going to give us growth like you haven't seen before. And it'll be something very special to watch. I am so looking forward. And Brian, it's going to happen even faster than you said. You know, you might say, but it's already started. It's already started. Work's already begun on plants all around the country. And you see that as before. These are big, rich companies. We have $61 billion started on a big plant going up. It's going to be announced over the next 2 days, and they already started work. Many of these the biggest companies in the world, they've committed to build. We're going to build, sir. And they came here to see me, and they wanted to know if they could have a press conference as many as I can. I'm pretty busy trying to stop Russia and Ukraine and the Middle East. We got to stop that. We got to stop the Houthis, which we're making tremendous. They like shooting ships down and out of the water, sinking ships. They get a kick out of it, but they're not getting such a kick out of it now, are they, Mr. Secretary? They're not getting such a kick out of that now.
No, Canada's not on there.
But
Canada wasn't on
here
there.
are just a short list of some of the companies that have already announced and committed to investment. And this is a company that built its factories and its plants in China. Apple is going to spend $500 billion. They never spent money like that here. They're going to build their plants here. SoftBank, OpenAI, and Oracle. Great.
So, Elliot, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
No, you wanted to say something.
Yeah. I just wanted to quickly say before we watch again. So there's two requirements he has, right? I mean, the first requirement is he wants, let's say, the EU and all the countries to drop all the tariffs.
All of them.
But then all of them, and then he will drop his. And the second thing is he's mentioning is that he wants industry to come to the States and produce there.
Yeah.
So I wonder how those two things will work together. I mean, if we drop our tariffs, we'll all be fine. I don't know. I mean, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. Yes. Okay. It doesn't matter.
Let's finish watching. We can discuss at the end.
Great companies are investing $500 billion almost immediately. NVIDIA, a hot company, is investing hundreds of billions of dollars. They just announced. TSMC, the biggest, most important company in the world of chips from Taiwan, with no investment from us, is investing $200 billion. And they said the reason was, number one, the election of November 5th, and number two, the tariffs. They don't want to pay the tariffs, and the way they're not paying it is to build their plant here. So we're going to go from almost no percentage. We used to have 100% of the chip market. Now it's all in Taiwan. Almost all of it's in Taiwan, a couple of other countries, but mostly in Taiwan. And think of it, we had 100%. We lost it because of people in that office that didn't do their job. They allowed it to be stolen from us. Johnson & Johnson, great company, $55 billion. Eli Lilly, $27 billion. Meta is investing $500 billion. Wow. The Mac is investing $20 billion. CMA, CGM, $20 billion. And then you have Merck and Clarios, Stellantis, General Motors, GE Aerospace, Honda, Nissan, Hyundai are all putting in billions and billions of dollars, and they're committed 100%. And we've never had, and this is after 2.5 months. This is after just a short, this all took place as soon as we came out with what everybody wanted to do. You know, I watched a gentleman today on television. He used to work with Lee Iacocca, a very respected automobile person, and he said, you know, because they're asking people, they try and get as many negative people as they can, but they can't find them too much. It's pretty hard to find in terms of what we're doing, especially when they see all this investment. They said, so tell me, what do you think of what Trump is doing from the automobile standpoint? He said, I can't believe it. Somebody is finally, he's an older guy, real pro, really top guy, with Lee Iacocca. He said, I never thought I'd see the day when this would happen. where somebody had the courage to go and do what has to be done. This is transforming our nation. Our entire nation is going to be transformed, not only with the cars, but on every single other item that's built. We're going to become an industrial powerhouse. And he said that so beautifully today. In fact, I'm going to find out, I'm going to get a tape. And Bruce, I'm going to get that tape and I'm going to send it to you out in Long Island, and you're going to play it for the people and all your union workers and your non-union workers out there. You got a pretty even split. But we have, so far, it looks like we're going to have about $6 trillion of investments, and you wouldn't do that in years in this country over the last number of years. $6 trillion, and that's going to be much higher by the end of the year. And think of what $6 trillion is. You wouldn't have even a small percentage of that under this other system. We're going to be an entirely different country, and it's going to be fantastic for the workers. It's going to be fantastic for everyone. There will never have been a transformation of a country like the transformation that's already happening in the United States of America. It's an incredible thing to watch, and it's incredible to meet with the top people, people that you read about, very wealthy people, or people that are great managers and executives and presidents of big public companies, and to watch the enthusiasm they have now that they didn't have. They gave up on our country. They went to foreign countries and they built. Companies are pouring into our country at levels never seen before, with jobs and money to follow, and it's really beautiful. In the coming days, there will be complaints from the globalists and the outsourcers and special interests and the fake news. Always, the fake news will always complain. But never forget, every prediction our opponents made about trade for the last 30 years has been proven totally wrong. They were wrong about NAFTA. They were wrong about China. They were wrong about the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which would have been a disaster if I didn't terminate it. If I didn't terminate that, United Auto Workers, you would have had no jobs in this country. You would have had no jobs. It was all going to other countries. In my first term, they said tariffs would crash the economy. Instead, we built the greatest economy in the history of the world. And again, I have great respect for President Xi of China, great respect for China, but they were taking tremendous advantage of us, and I commend them for that. I say, hey, if you can get away with it, that's okay. But, you know, they understand exactly what's happening, and they probably, most of them are saying it's about time they did something, but, and they're going to fight, and they're going to fight fair. Everyone's going to fight. You know, it's like, I say to the leaders, look, you got to take care of your country, but we have to start taking care of our country now. We can't do what we've been doing for the last 50 years. From the day of my election, the stock market went up in my first term 88%, with NASDAQ going up 155% more than any president has ever had in any term in office, by far.
Yeah.
Why are we
I
not
think
looking
we're
at
going to
now?
blow that away, and maybe the numbers won't show, but I think they're going to show much better than even those numbers. But what you're going to see is you're going to see activity, that empty, dead sites, factories that are falling down. Those factories will be knocked down, and they're going to have brand new factories built in their place. They're not only talking about renovating, they're talking about brand new, the best anywhere in the world, the biggest anywhere in the world.
There more to
I have a friend who builds car plants, and I said, I want to see the biggest and the best. He said, well, we have to go to Mexico. I said, no, I want to see it in the United States. He said, we're not building them in there. This is a year and a half ago during the campaign. He said, we're not building it. You'd have to go to Mexico. When I was starting to decide to run, and I went to number...
It's at least another 5 to 10 minutes, so enjoy, everyone.
one in the polls very rapidly. I want to say, like let's say in the first hour.
Let's get some more crazy.
And then shortly thereafter, it looked like I was going to win, and the fake news was saying, "Oh no, don't do this." What they don't know is if I didn't win, they would have really been in trouble, because nobody wants to read them anyway. But I tell you what, when it looked like I was going to win, I announced that I was going to be doing exactly what we're talking about today. Great consistency, actually, because I've been talking about it for 40 years. But because I saw what was happening 40 years ago. If you look at my old speeches when I was young, very handsome, my old speeches, and then people would say, I'd be on a television show, I'd be talking about how we were being ripped off by these countries. I mean, nothing changes very much. The only thing that changed were the countries. but nothing really changes. But it's why it's such a.
Sorry, just a quick announcement already, because I think it's quite interesting. The S&P 500 is already down with 2.3%, Nasdaq by 3.1% in after hours.
Oh my God!
Yeah, the S&P, the market's crashing in after hours. So tomorrow will be a very interesting day.
Yeah. Honor. It's such an honor to be finally able to do this. If you look at China,
30 minutes.
I took in hundreds of billions of dollars in my term. Hundreds of billions. They never paid 10 cents to any other president, and yet they paid hundreds of billions. So much so that Biden couldn't do anything. They wanted to try and terminate it.
Yeah, Biden for.
He had a very special relationship with China. You know what the relationship was? He had a special relationship. But the numbers were so big. The numbers were so big that they couldn't do it. So they did ease it up. They did things that they shouldn't have done. Yep. They made it a lot more comfortable for them, but they couldn't do it because the numbers were hundreds of billions of dollars. And I did that. And we were on our way to doing something like incredible. And then we had a very bad election happen, a very bad election. A lot of bad things happened. So when I said we got to do it again, I said we have to make it too big to rig it. We made it too big to rig it. We won in records, and it was a monumental win. And it was such an honor to see so many of you, like Brian and your friends, here with us to celebrate and to more importantly celebrate what we're doing, because that wouldn't be a full celebration if we didn't do this, because this will be an entirely different country in a short period of time. It'll be something the whole world will be talking about it. The critics made the very tired predictions earlier this year, but in February, core inflation dropped to the lowest rate in 4 years. And the price of eggs, as you know, just in a month and a half, we were there for 4 weeks. And the first week I got blamed for eggs. I said, I just got here. They said eggs have gone up at like 250% and you can't get eggs. And they were going crazy. And I said, I just got here.
This obsession with
and then
eggs
we got to work on eggs. And we got to work on everything. And our great Secretary of Agriculture, you did a fantastic job. Brooke Rollins, she did a fantastic job. And as I said before, the price of eggs dropped now 59%, and they're going down more, and the availability is fantastic. They were saying that for Easter, please don't use eggs. Could you use plastic eggs? I said, we don't want to do that. We want to, and you really came through. It's an amazing job. Thank you very much, Brooke. You did great. But likewise, an old-fashioned term that we use, groceries. I used it in the campaign. It's such an old-fashioned term, but a beautiful term, groceries. It sort of says a bag with different things in it. Groceries went through the roof. And I campaigned on that. I talked about the word groceries for a lot. And energy costs now are down. Groceries are down. Gasoline is way under $3. And people are beginning to be able to buy things and live again. We brought prices way down. We created 10,000 already in a few weeks, new manufacturing jobs. And it was that took place in 1 month, numbers that they haven't seen in a long time. We had virtually no inflation under my term. We had virtually no inflation for 4 years. But after transitioning over to Sleepy Joe, it went from almost non-existent to the highest in the history of our country. They're the highest inflation in the history of our country, brought up by energy and bad spending and bad policy, and a lot of bad things happened. How about allowing millions and millions and millions of people to pour into our country with open borders, where it's so sad to see even now, and I see our great secretary of you have done. Stand up, please, Christy. Stand up. Christy Noem and Tom Homan. These people are doing a great job, but
I think
got them out in records. We have problems with judges that don't want them to go out. They want Tren de Aragua, and they want MS-13, the most vicious gangs ever. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. Absolute killer gangs. They kill people. They don't even think about it. And we put them out, and we have judges now, radical left judges that want to. They don't want them to go out. They want them to even be brought back. Let's bring them back. You've done a fantastic job, and please thank everybody. Homeland Security, thank everybody.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
We will, Commander, next time.
And we now have a border that's the best border that we've ever had, even better than it was my first term. My first term we did good, but this one we really specialized in. We've done really well. And we had records then. We had the best, safest border 4 years ago. We had the best border there ever was. And now we have, you've actually matched it and done even better. And we're going to get it down the right way. And we want people, by the way, to come into our country, but we want them to come in through a legal process. We want them to come in legally. We need more people. We need people to run these plants and to help the auto workers and the Teamsters and the non-union people and everybody else. But we need people and the farmers. And we're going to let people come in, but they want to come in. We want them to come in legally. They have to have the capability of loving our country, not people that hate our country. We don't want them in our country. And now we're going to pass the largest tax cuts in American history, and that's where we're relying on Mike and John Thune. And we will not cut Social Security, Medicare, or Medicaid benefits, and the Democrats will, because if they got in, the entire economy would collapse. This country was heading for a collapse.
Cutting tax, but no
under
spending.
The people that you
That's
saw.
okay.
They were horrible. I think one of the reasons people like the job, I have my highest approval ratings because I think they're comparing me to the worst administration in the history of our country. So I appreciate that at least. But Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, and Senate Majority Leader, appreciate it, Mike. John Thune have been fantastic.
Congratulations.
But they've been working tirelessly on taking the next step to pass the plan for our one big, beautiful bill. I'd like to name it that if you can.
He wants to go through his entire manifesto too and everything he's done, apparently.
Yeah. I
big
didn't know
deal.
that
I made
was
that
the
statement
meaning
about
of
6
this,
months ago.
or the
Sorry,
purpose of
go ahead.
this. No, I
Go
didn't
ahead,
know the purpose of this speech was to once again repeat how good and great America is and will be, but wasn't good under Biden.
Dude, have you never watched his rallies? It's nothing else.
I have.
Man, like it's literally that for like an hour and a half.
I don't know why I keep expecting something else.
Like, you know, maybe he's gonna even like get out a dance at the end of YMCA. That's also one of his star moves. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Let's keep going.
And everybody calls it one big beautiful bill, and it will be that. It'll have everything, the big tax cuts and every incentive there is, and it'll be fantastic. And by the way, for the cars, we're asking for an interest deduction on a loan. So if you build the car, only in America we do it, Brian. If the car's not built in America, you don't get the interest rate deduction. But if you build the car in America, if you buy a car, if it's built in America, then you get an interest rate deduction, tax deduction, and that's a big thing. That's going to be a big thing. I think that's going to pay for itself very quickly. That deduction never happened. We've never had anything like that before. Somebody said, "Where did you get the idea?" Because it's so basic. You would think that would have happened a long time ago. It never did, and I'm very happy it didn't, because now I can say that was my idea. But we're going to get us closer to the debt extension. We have to get the debt extension passed, and I know you're going to be able to do that, Mike, and it's very important that you do that. And all of the other things that the Senate budget plan gives us, along with working, because I know they're working together, John and Mike, and the two bills are going very well together. We need to get our shared priorities done, including certain permanent tax cuts. We want the tax cuts to be permanent, spending cuts, energy and historic investments in defense, border, and so much more. We're covering everything. These will be phenomenal. There'll be no bill like this going to straighten. One bill is going to straighten out our country for many, many years to come. And we said, let's just do it and let's get it done. And some guys will love it, and some guys will like it a little bit less because they're not getting what they were exactly looking for, but they're getting a lot. They'll never, if we get this done, it'll be the most incredible bill ever passed in the history of our Congress and Senate, and congressmen, the senators, and the congressmen, many of whom are here today, will be very proud of themselves. I really believe that it's going to set us on a whole new prosperous path. We're going to cut spending and right-size the budget back to where it should be. We're going to do that very strongly. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, John. Thank you. Oh, look at all of our senators. Oh boy, that's a nice group of people. But I won't like them so much if they don't get this bill done. That's a great group, and Congressman, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Tremendous people. The Senate plan is my complete and total support, and the House plan likewise is very similar. They're moving along pretty much at the same clip, and as soon as you're ready, you'll show it to me, and I'm sure it'll have my support, Mike. Every Republican congressman and senator must unify. We have to unify. We can't be separated. We have to get it done. We have to get absolutely everything we can, and we have to take care of the American people. That's the only thing that matters. We have to take care of the American people first. We need to pass this bill immediately, get it done, including debt extension. From this day on, we're not going to let anyone tell us that American workers and families cannot have the future that they deserve. We're going to produce the cars and ships, chips, airplanes, minerals, and medicines that we need right here in America. The pharmaceutical companies are going to become roaring back. They're coming roaring back. They're all coming back to our country, because if they don't, they got a big tax to pay. And if they do, I'll be very happy, and you're going to be very happy, and you're going to be very safe. We're going to build our future with American hands, with American heart, American steel, and we're going to build it with American pride like we used to. We're approaching our 100th day as president, and have been given credit by a lot of people, actually, even some of the fake news. Can you believe it? Which in this case hopefully isn't fake, for having done more in that time than any other administration in the history of our country in the first 100 days. I think we've had an amazing, in terms of what we've done, what we've gotten accomplished. I'd like to see if we can get that war ended and another war from not starting in the Middle East. We have to get Russia. They're losing 2,000 on average, 2,500 people today, young people, soldiers, Russian, think of that, 2,500 through some days, but on average probably over about a 1 week period, it's 2,712, they say. They're losing those soldiers. They're dying. They're being decimated. And they're not from our country, but they're from other countries. But they're human beings. They're from Russia. They're from Ukraine in this period, most of them. And we're going to get it stopped. It's a senseless war that would have never happened if I was president, and it shouldn't be allowed to go on. And I think we're being given good cooperation by Russia and by Ukraine, but we have to get it stopped. It's humanity. It's humanity. It's a terrible thing. This will be a very big moment. I think you're going to remember today. It's going to be a free nation that we're dealing with. We're going to have a very free and beautiful nation. It's going to be Liberation Day in America, and it's going to be a day that hopefully you're going to look back in years to come and you're going to say, you know, he was right. This has turned out to be one of the most important days in the history of our country. God bless you and God bless America. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to turn it off. Well, yeah. Elliot, and before we analyze, let me share what we've actually watched. I hope this works.
Yeah,
probably. It doesn't.
You're looking at the drive right now.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. People can see. Here we go. I've just found these reciprocal tariffs. You can see this, right? In the screen?
Not yet. Not yet. We just see the drive right now.
Here we go. Now, now?
Yes, we can see them now.
Perfect. Okay, so for maybe just very quickly to set the scene before we talk about all of this. So we just watched, I mean, I don't even tell you, we just watched Trump introducing tariffs worldwide. And for any newcomers, this is the list that he basically introduced. So very
Can
quick
you zoom in for maybe a little bit, or should I try to zoom in?
Can you try, because it's a bit difficult from where I am.
Okay, I'll try to zoom in.
I can try. No, it doesn't really.
Okay, let me zoom in.
Let me explain it while you try to zoom in. So yeah, basically he's announced something he calls reciprocal tariffs. So the whole idea is that, well, the US or Trump's team defined the percentage of tariffs other countries have. So that's the left column next to the countries. And then the reciprocal tariffs that the US is going to create on those countries is in the column next to it in the yellow. And here you can find your particular country and see what tariff your country is going to get. That's the explainer. Elliot, what's your number one takeaway? What's your, what do you think?
So, there's a lot of thoughts going through my mind. First, before I say anything, is it like, can people see it kind of now? Actually, if I think the stream can see it, but I would like to make sure before I say anything else.
Yeah, sorry, it's a bit small, but somehow I don't know. Maybe I'm just being stupid,
okay.
But
no, I can see fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I'm first of all, I think I really want to see what how the market reacts to this. Second big question in my head is how soon are we gonna see response from von der Leyen or other European leaders to these tariffs? And I'm not quite sure how this works with
Yeah.
the reciprocal tariffs. So, like, is it really on everything? Because that would be crazy in my head.
I was checking a news article while we were watching, and they said the same thing. It's literally tariffs on the world. I mean, again, I hope I'm not wrong. I'm not spreading misinformation, but that's my understanding completely. And I think The Guardian, which I'm reading at the same time, and here NBC News. Yeah.
It really is.
It's not fully clear. So here it says the White House have said that the tariffs will be reciprocal with other nations, while also possibly targeting specific sectors, such as pharmaceuticals or computer chips. So I really think this is on everything. And he made like a couple of extra announcements. So he said 25% on the car industry. So that's higher than the 20% that the European Union is here. So again, my understanding, and please chat, let us know if you've got a different understanding, but that is what I understood, yeah.
Yeah, and then for this to not happen to all of these countries, literally the entire world, is to have zero tariffs on anything on the United States, and also no tariffs, and also no non-monetary barriers. Also, those like nothing that impedes trade with the United States should be there, and then you won't get tariffed at all.
Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned in the stream, there's two things he kept mentioning. You have to put your tariffs to zero, and we will do the same. And we also want you to produce in America, right, in the country itself.
I mean, it's yeah.
Go ahead.
It is. I mean, obviously, remove all your tariffs to the United States, and then all the richest companies in the world can very easily outcompete every other company, right, in all of these countries. So, I mean, it's no big surprise that he's asking this, but no, not a single country will remove all of the tariffs or all non-trade barriers.
My big question mark is also, who defined these numbers of the other countries? I mean, 90% Vietnam, 39% the European Union. I mean, that seems excessively high. I'm not sure if that's true.
Yeah, and you can also, just to continue, I mean, you can also, like he said, you can kind of calculate it maybe with when you're looking at purely the tariffs, which like tariffs are not that widespread, but he said he's also including the trade barriers in it as well, non-monetary trade barriers. And how do you value those? How do you value those?
Yeah. I think it literally, my takeaway is, again, it comes back to him, I think, just wanting everyone to like fly to Mar-a-Lago or Washington, bend the knee kind of thing, and negotiate, get something out of the country. I think that's his strategy, to be honest.
It's this like it is this new way of thinking of the world, where first we had the United States for anywhere past 1991 to, I mean, you could say now. where the United States was the country, right? It was the biggest military always. It was the world police, almost seen as, when foreign wars and everything like that, and the dollar was everything. Everyone was looking at the United States for a long time, but now it's this totally withdrawing of any influential position of the world. It's all zero sum. No, like, you can't benefit both from trade. Only we can benefit, and if you try to do your own thing, then you're going to get punished for it.
Yeah, I know, but it's quite. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's quite smart marketing how he does this to his base. Because the way he's selling
Space,
it.
yes. Yeah.
I mean, and to maybe even to people that are not really deep into it, it's like, look, all of these countries are charging us extortionate fees, which are here, which I doubt are accurate. No, we're only charging them half. So what's the issue here? You know what I mean? No. So it's a great marketing ploy that he's using here with his reciprocal tariffs.
It is purely. I mean, this is my opinion, right? But I think this is really all of this international talk or trade talk. It's all to gain favor with his base of his voters. It really is just, especially in the messaging, the way that he talks about things. It's very dumbed down. It's very like tangible, I guess, examples, or I spoke to this guy and he said this and we talked about this. I mean, it's kind of rambling at the same time, but I guess it appeals to people that vote for him. It's either that or it's just complete randomness. I don't know.
I think another interesting takeaway is countries he didn't mention and that are not on the list, right?
Yeah.
So, for example, I mean, the UK is on the list with 10%, so that's quite little. But countries like Ukraine, not on the list. Russia, not on the list. Canada, not on the list, right? Excuse me. So that's quite interesting. And secondly, I think it was also mentioned in the comments, for people that don't know, he's got a 10% rate for any other country not on the list in the world. So those countries are still affected, but they're not mentioned here, which is interesting. Like, his friends seem to be mentioned, but the ones that are not his friends, except for maybe China, are not mentioned.
Yeah, the quote. What did he say again? Something with friends is they're worse at ripping you off than your enemies in some cases. I need to know the direct quote. I'm misquoting here. There's a bigger list. Adam Ayman says.
Yeah, this is the list I have at the moment. So if you do have a better list, you can share the link in the comments.
There's a lot more people. Okay, maybe there are more. Okay, so they did make more specific ones then, I guess.
I guess they did. Okay, my bad then. Yeah.
I mean, we'll find them at some point. Stocks drop. I mean, I do see like Canada and Mexico exempted from new tariff regime for now. Will be exempt from the baseline 10 tariff rate as well as reciprocal levies. So Canada and Mexico are fully exempt from all of these tariffs, also including the general 10% one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no surprise. I mean, Mexico is 15% of all the imports, and Canada is 13.6% of all the imports to the United States. So,
I mean, it's insane. It's definitely worse than I thought it would be. So maybe because we are an EU channel, maybe we should have a look at what this means with the EU and how they will react, right? So I mean, just like a quick explainer, maybe one thing that will happen 100% is a first retaliation package, which has already been defined, which is targeting $26 billion US dollars worth of goods, such as bourbon, Harley Davidson.
Yep.
Small stuff like that. But that's been confirmed. The EU will most likely enact that tomorrow morning when von der Leyen talks. But that was against the steel tariffs.
Yeah,
right? That Trump
just
imposed.
the steel tariffs. Yeah,
exactly. And now we got two more kind of tariffs. We have the car tariffs, right, on the car industry, which Germany's not going to be happy about. And the second one is 20% on everything else. So now it'll be very, very interesting how the EU will react to those tariffs. I mean, what do you think before I go for my ideas? What do you think they should do or will do, Elliot?
What they will do, I at this point I'm not quite sure. I mean, there have been these nuclear options, as we already talked about before we started. I mean, they're on the table with tariffing or taxing, however you want to call it, the the profits made or the gains made by American tech companies in the European Union, which would be massive. That's like the start of a proper trade war. I mean, if you can always say that this already is a trade war.
I think it is a trade war,
yeah,
right? I mean,
yeah, you can call
do
it that.
you think? Maybe another question: do you think the EU should try to negotiate first, or just hit back hard? And also with the chat, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm curious to see what people think, but I would say hit back hard. I'm kind of there was this interview with, I don't know, one of the trade negotiators in the European Union, and he said, or they said, that was anonymous, so I don't know who this person was, but they said, well, it's like you put there's like a rotten fish on the table right now, put there by the United States, and then the question is, are you going to go there into the United States and like instantly start negotiating, like, hey, what's that? And then if you manage to get that rotten fish off the table, then we can all shake hands and say this was nice or this was cool or something. So I think you should kind of show a bit of balls here as the European Union. Why not? I mean, it's time to not be pushed around all the time. And like you said at the beginning, the economy is like trade, and economy is the strong suit of the European Union. Militarily, maybe not, but yeah, I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm just a bit worried that it's the same thing again, right? Like that member states will start involving themselves. So this is always the danger in the EU, right? I mean, the Commission might want to do one thing, but then you have Italy, for example, France, saying, "Oh, but wait, what about our wine and our champagne?" Like, okay, let's try to find an exception from the US. And then the German car industry, a massive lobby, will also try to get carry favors. And how long will they stick with the European Commission negotiating on their behalf? And maybe even hurting the industry short term when they think they could try and get their own kind of deals. In the end of the day, the Commission has exclusive competency in this area, so the Commission
That's what
should be
say as well. Yeah.
But you know how member states get in the EU, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're an an internal market after all. But I'm thinking here that there was already a bit of speculation a few weeks back where people were saying that maybe this Mercosur deal will get quite a bit of boost now, because that could be an out, so to say, as a way to avoid these tariffs and work together with countries that are also being tariffed, right? Like is Argentina, Brazil, is it on here?
If anyone has the full list,
yeah, we should get the full list.
Yeah, maybe you can link it, or you can put Brazil and Argentina rates in the chat. Would be interesting to know. It's probably at least 10%, obviously.
I mean, yeah, probably at least 10. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, that's ultimately, though, this is what's going to happen. I mean, Trump is literally pushing his allies to make uncanny alliances, if you know what I mean. Like, for example, here in the chat, someone said Mercosur is taking so long. But maybe now it will go a lot faster, because all of a sudden, there's a common enemy. I mean, not an enemy, but almost an enemy.
No, you could say that. Yeah.
And India, I know the EU has been negotiating with India. Maybe that will now speed up. Those are the consequences that the US could see, where, other countries will start working together and build less reliance on the states. Does the states really want that? I just don't understand.
Yeah, this is like the thing that I will never get is this entire position by the United States has been giving away, or like they're voluntarily giving away their global hegemony position. They're literally on number one position, where now it's this push into all of these different islands. Okay, we have the obviously the United States, but you see China and their island. European Union is maybe not becoming their own island. We'll see how our leaders are feeling. India may or may not be their own thing. I mean, Russia, depending on the economy, is going to be their own thing. So you get these multiple poles inside of the world where, I mean, it's very chaotic, very unpredictable right now. And I don't know why he so willingly gave up this hegemonic position.
I don't. Yeah, it is strange. It is strange. I mean, the nuclear option really is, like you mentioned, right, going after the tech companies.
Yeah.
Because that's, I mean, maybe it's also interesting that it was mentioned in the speech, but the US runs a 110 billion surplus when it comes to goods. When it comes to services.
But
Yeah. So for example, when the US exports more services to Europe than it receives, and of course for goods it's the complete other way around. So service is really the place where the EU can hurt the US. Even so, we can tax Facebook and Meta. We can stop US companies bidding for our government contracts. We can even limit their IP, within the European Union.
Yes,
So
yes.
Yeah.
The IP one, I forgot about that. Yeah, true. Man. That's the thing. I mean, there is a lot of cards on the table if you want to stay in Trump lingo for the European Union. So there are so many options, but it's kind of to see how far are we willing to go, and how far can our own companies catch up, or different trade partners catch up with this. I wouldn't say it's impossible. I mean, just an example. I'm thinking back to the massive increase in inflation when the Ukraine war started, and gas prices went way up because of the over reliance on Russian gas, right? But that is all but recovered now. I mean, it's that's a way bigger scale than I think this would be. I mean, let's see imports to or exports from the United States. Where are the largest exports going? I have a screen here. I don't know if you can.
I can share the screen here. One second. I can share. So here we go. 1 second. It's loading. It's loading very long.
Yeah, it is loading.
There we go. So U.S. exports.
I'll see. I'll resize the screen again.
The internet's a bit slow here.
I think I think a lot of people are using this website now.
Yeah, I think so too. I think a lot are using it. Maybe while we're waiting, should we answer one of the questions? Because
sure.
In the chat. So maybe an interesting one. Sama GW, thank you for the question. What will be the reaction of Meloni and Starmer, or even Tusk, in your opinion?
Oof.
I can answer Starmer for sure. So Starmer will see it as a win. I think, because 10% on the UK, considering the EU got a worse deal, I think. He probably won't sell it as a win because it's still 10%. But I think he'll be relieved it's not more, if you ask me.
Yeah.
And I know. Someone corrected me in the chat earlier, but I know that he at least Politico, the news article, claimed he made concessions yesterday on what was it? He offered big US tech firms tax cuts in return for lower tariffs. I know he did that, but I think it's not completely confirmed. But he came towards Trump. As for Tusk and Meloni, do you know anything about them?
I think a little bit. Yeah, I can answer a little bit for both. I feel like for Tusk first, the thing about Poland is that a lot of people really see the United States, or saw, I'm not quite sure now, in a very positive light, where the United States was always the friend. Especially when it comes to militarily and NATO. This is the sentiment that has come over from joining NATO, this after the Soviet Union fall. But it's a very tight rope now, because everyone is being hit by this. We are so is Poland, and especially with Polish president elections coming up. I don't know if it's like this idea of staying friends with the United States is going to be a lot more popular longer. I'm not quite sure. So I feel like he's in a very tightrope situation where he sees that the population likes the United States, but they're hurting us right now. So which way you go? And I feel like the same goes for Meloni in that sense, where Meloni, there was this really interesting analysis where she's always been very, very fond of United States and the transatlantic relationship. But now that once again, the United States is hurting them as well, especially Italy has a, I have to say it properly, is a net. Was it an importer or
they're a net exporter, aren't they? They export more than they import in the US, I think, because of their cars, I guess. Also.
Yeah, I don't want to mess it up. So, but in any ways, they have a very important relationship, a trade relationship with the United States. It's very large. So, Meloni likes the United States, or likes the United States. So how do you do that then? Where the country or the partner that you've had for so long is now all of a sudden being quite hostile.
Well,
it's a
Maloney-
difficult position to stay in. She did say, "Yeah, I know what you're about to say. Go, yeah, go ahead." Yeah.
No, I'm not sure, but I know Maloney is the Trump whisperer, right, in Europe. That's what she's.
I thought
that's
it was
what
Mark
she's being
Rutte.
labeled as. But anyway, she did mention before all of this went down that the bloc, so the European Union bloc, should not act on impulse, right? So she's very conscious of countermeasures, and I think, if I understand that correctly, she would prefer negotiation before any drastic measures.
Oh, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I think leaders will be surprised. I mean, because I thought honestly also that the stock market already priced in what was going to happen today.
Yeah.
But it obviously didn't, because the after hours went crazy. So this was excessive for everyone.
Yeah, it was, and I'm just remembering now that Maloney also was present at the inauguration, right? Donald Trump's inauguration.
She was.
Yeah,
I think
was there as the only European leader as well. No,
Orban, right?
Was Orban there?
I
I'm not quite sure anymore.
Chat, help us out. Come on,
Yeah,
was
Orban at the inauguration? I want to say no, but I'm not quite sure.
I mean, isn't he best buds?
Yeah, you would assume so, huh?
Yeah. Let's see if there's any other questions while we're waiting. Orban wasn't there. Okay, my bad.
Yeah, see, what? Conflicting reports. Orban was, Orban wasn't. Well, let me Google this. Trump inauguration. Orban not invited to Trump's inauguration. Will not attend.
That must have hurt.
He wasn't there.
Ooh. Any other questions? Let me roll up a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we do like a couple more questions and then maybe call it a day, Elliot.
Yeah, it's been quite a dream.
So if there's any final questions, post them now and we can choose one or two before we call it a day, guys.
Yeah, and also if you really want to get your question answered, super chats do get priority if you have a burning question to ask or to discuss.
That would be that would be great. And then while we're doing promotions, check out our Patreon, everyone. We have an amazing level. Here's a little commercial spot. We have an amazing level called MEP, so you can become a member of the European Parliament at the EU Made Simple, and then you can vote on our video ideas every week. So every Monday we do a poll, and you can be involved as a member of Parliament, voting for videos for the channel. So we'd appreciate your commitment there if possible.
Yeah.
To the questions.
Tomorrow about stock prices.
Oh, what are your predictions of the stock prices? That's a fun one. All right. I mean, it depends. We should do the US one and the European one, right?
I guess so.
Yeah.
Oh, we Avner Solomon, RON. What currency is RON? Romania? RON? No, Romania is euro. No.
No. Romania is not in the eurozone. No. I don't think so. Anyway.
Romanian. I can't pronounce that.
Romania, yeah.
Okay, good. Anyways, thank you, Avner Solomon. Don't let the ramblings about the donation distract you. It's very kind. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Avner. We appreciate it. But yeah, go ahead. So percentage-wise, S&P 500, the US. What do you think tomorrow, the opening?
Aren't they already saying like a -3, -4 now? I thought I was reading this.
I'm gonna go for -2.4.
That was very specific.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm gonna go
-10 commando in the chat.
-10. To come crashing down. No. So okay. I mean, if you're going for -2.4, I'll go for 3. I'll go for the higher.
Yeah.
And then Europe.
I think Europe will also go down significantly, but I don't think as much. I think Europe will go down Euro stock 600. What do you call them again? Euro stock 600. Minus what? 1.8%.
1.8? Oh, I was going to say like
1.8. 1.8. So we almost 2, I think. Yeah.
I wanted to say like 1.1 or something.
German Zoomer, if you watch my latest video, that's not been happening lately. European stocks have been doing better than US ones. But anyway, sorry, Elliot, go ahead.
Yeah. No. I said like 1.2. I feel like a contraction. Yeah. Gabriella Fiorini, sorry. Also, thank you for your donation. Very kind. No question was attached, so we appreciate it. But if you have any questions or any comment, please let us know. So we always want to reach out to the people that support us.
Should we take Avner's question? He donated. So let's take Avner's question, which is, do you think Orban will go more towards Russia or EU? He already is buying gas from Romania to buy less from Russia.
To buy less from Russia.
Do you think Orban will?
I don't know. For me, this is like his water wet question. I don't know. I think it will be a cold day in hell.
There's one interesting development maybe, and that is for the first time in a while, Trump threatened Russia with tariffs, more tariffs. And the tariff he threatened with, I mean, he threatened Ukraine more, but he did threaten Russia, was indirect tariffs against oil. And indirect tariffs against oil means that anyone buying the oil from Russia, right, and they are exporting goods, the tariff will go in that country. And isn't Hungary still importing oil from Russia? I'm pretty sure they are.
Yeah. No, I mean, the entirety of the European Union still kind of is. But it's gone down. It's gone down with like 60% over the past 3 years, 60, 70%. But all right. But you're wrong with it being the first time, because Trump has said multiple times over the past weeks where it flip-flops, where if Russia doesn't do something that he likes, or a conversation was this like, careful Russia, I'm going to do X tariff or X whatever measure, X sanction, if you don't do this. And then, after a few days that goes away again. So it's been going flip-flopping all around. But the question about Orban, to finish it, I think he is bought in. He's made his entire political surrounding, his entire structure is focused now on being more friendly or more cordial towards Russia. So I think it's really going to be a big surprise to see if he approaches the European Union more than Russia in this case. But that's feel free to disagree. That's my take.
I think you're right. I mean, he's kind of playing whatever suits his boat, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, Elliot, let's call it a day. Thank you.
Thank
you very much. Right, it was a fun conversation. Thanks to the chat. Appreciate you watching it with us, and we'll be doing live streams a bit more often, right, Elliot?
Yeah. So the general idea is I mean, I saw some comments earlier about people really enjoying the fact that there's the impromptu live stream. We want to go with these big events where it's something's going to be announced, something to do a watch along with you guys. Give our opinion. You can give your opinion. Let's have a conversation about the news that is happening in front of our eyes. So we want to do this more often, so definitely keep an eye out. If you enjoyed the format, please let us know. If you didn't like it, or if you think something should be improved, also let us know, because we're also always trying to improve. But in general, other than that, I really liked being here and enjoyed everyone staying, even though for some the speech may have been a bit rough.
All right, thank you everyone. We'll see you on the next one.
See you next one, guys. Bye bye.